Kia ora koutou. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is Fertility New Zealand and our webinar series and our monthly webinar of Infertility Affects Men Too. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce Richard and Richie, our two guys that are here to share their stories and experiences this evening with us. Clearly there was a requirement to be named Richard and to have some facial hair going on. So, but great to have you guys along. Thank you so much. So Richard and Richie are going to be bringing their perspective around with their fertility journey and their experience. This webinar tonight focuses on a number of elements for regarding male experience with infertility, but not everything. So there's a few things like surrogacy that won't be covered tonight, but we've got another webinar coming up in October that's particularly targeted at the rainbow community that will cover a number of elements that tonight won't. So we look forward to welcoming you in due course to that webinar as well. Our webinar series is sponsored by Merck, and we're really grateful to have their support and funding that allow us to run this webinar series throughout the year. Fertility New Zealand walks alongside all people facing fertility challenges. We do this through providing support, information, and advocacy. You can contact us through our helpline, or and we also have regional and topic support groups throughout the country and online. You can connect with us on social media. We've got Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And you can also join up to Fertility New Zealand as a member. Membership is free, and by joining, you have some access to some other resources and information, as well as really supporting the work that we do. Please visit our website for information and resources. We've got fact sheets on there covering a huge range of different topics, as well as videos, all of our backlog of webinars, and our Dandelion newsletter, and so much more. So on to tonight's session, Infertility Affects Men Too. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce again Richard and Richie as our guest presenters. At any point, feel free to type in a question into the chat box, and at the end, we'll come to them when we have time. So thanks again for joining us tonight. We hope you enjoy the webinar. And first up, we're going to have Richard.
Thanks, Lydia. Yes, I've prepared a little bit to talk about the journey I had with my wife's fertility experience, which started way back in 2012. There was we returned from holiday overseas, and that was time we were going to kick off and get straight into starting a family. Thought it'd go really quickly, which it didn't. Yeah. So the process is not very quick. There's a lot of hurry up and wait. Yeah, so I might have to read from a few of my notes as we go along. Yeah, the process was like everyone, I guess, was month by month, and every month, much like with my wife's disappointment, nothing was happening, and then we started looking into her side of the fertility journey and how things were progressing, and there was a few doctor's appointments that we attended, and then I went to see my local GP, who said, change your underwear and don't drink as much coffee, and there we go. And eventually I did a test on the semen to see how the swimmers worked, and the doctor said, yeah, definitely change that underwear, it'll be right as rain. And things progressed, and over a year, 18 months, and we ended up at Fertility Associates, and then the other big fertility camp place in Auckland after that. And there's a few ups and downs. Eventually, I was diagnosed with something called anti-sperm antibodies, which is where all of your semen sticks together, so it doesn't swim. They all glue together, and it meant the only way to have a child was through IVF, which was more waiting and lots more waiting. And then eventually we got through the waiting list, and there was a bit of diet and exercise going on, and we got into IVF, and it was lucky first time around, which was fantastic. I learned a lot from the process. I attended the fertility support series with Fertility New Zealand, and maybe being naive about things, whether it was the presenters were going through their stories, and the first one gave a really heartfelt story, and at the end she said that in the end we gave up and didn't have a child. And I mean, the naive side of me thought that if you were here presenting this, that you'd have had a happy outcome and you would have had a family, but this poor couple didn't, and that hit me really hard. And it was during our journey it was like, are we going to be in the same boat, wife and I? And really pity you weren't. It was probably was a little of a naive thing, thinking that you wouldn't have to, that it would always work out in the end. And there's some long ones thinking that maybe it wouldn't. But after a while, we went through the process with IVF and had our first kid, and that was fantastic. Because that's just the brief outline of the very long fertility journey we had. I mean, other people saying have long ones, but ours was long enough. I'm gonna, if you're ready, Richie, I'll hand over to you to hear your side of your story.
Slightly different.
So over to you, Richie.
Sorry, jumped in there. Slightly different story for us, for my wife and I. We had secondary infertility, so we had our first daughter normally. It was just a normal process, and then we started for our second. There, after 10, 11 months, nothing was happening. So I went to the doctors. Wife got tested. She had very low AMH, egg reserve, which meant she'd be very unlikely to conceive naturally, and that we were lucky to have our first one at all. So mixed blessing there, but it was So we went through there. We went through the infertility drugs like clomiphene. Oh, I didn't say that right, I don't think. Monitored cycles. We did IVF. Did more monitored cycles, and we ended up going through the egg donor, and then waiting for funding and such forth. And then once we're eligible for funding, we're able to select a donor, and we were very lucky to have another daughter. Yeah, so it was again a long process, but at least we did have our first daughter, luckily enough.
Thanks, Richard. So we've got two quite different sort of journeys there already. We've got a range of questions that I'm going to go through and ask now, and just feel free to each answer from your own perspective. Jump in as much as you want. We'll just keep going, and we'll launch straight into it. So, how did infertility affect you as a person and overall?
I'll go first, are you?
Yep, good. Go.
It was weird because by the time my infertility came up, we were already quite a way into the process. We'd been trying for quite a while by this point, and it was just another hurdle. It seemed like you have a hurdle, then you have a long wait to the next hurdle, and then eventually you jump the last one. And my infertility came in kind of midway through, and we'd already found out a few of the issues my wife was having, and it was just another thing. I remember we we got a letter through at the same time, and it was assuming that we were good to try clomiphene, which is a drug that you and a partner out there, Richie. But
Yep.
the one letter, my wife said, "Yep, good to go." The letter for me was absolutely no point because of your antibodies, and these arrived at the same time, which was pretty downhearting. And yeah, it was tough. I mean, I was kind of stuck. Yeah, I wasn't happy, to say the least. But then my wife, who was, also really unhappy as well. And more is happening with your wife than is with you. And, I wanted to be there to support her. And, you just got to swallow it a bit and talk to a couple of mates and say, or, some trusted people about how you feel about things. And it's just, it sucks. Basically, it really does.
Yeah,
and that's, I couldn't put it another way, to be fair. Yeah. Richie?
Yeah. So it was a big shift in mentality for us because our first daughter was remarkably fast and with no issues, to then turn around going, you need to do this. This is got to try this. We're going to try that. It was a big mental shift that it took a wee while to get my head round. My wife she struggled a lot. But the whole turnaround from an easy baby to nope, not happening without intervention was hard. Yeah. So yeah, it was hard.
You feel inadequate, eh? It's this is a process that humans have been doing for ages, and mammals have been doing for ages, and it's a bit of a failure that it's pretty straightforward, but it's not working. But it's not as straightforward as you reckon, is it? It's
no, it was kind of like, oh yeah, we do this, we do A plus B equals this, and no, it doesn't. Oh, hang on. Yeah. So yeah, it was hard to get. Like I didn't, unlike Richard there, we were like first bang, no worries, second, and then it was just mental U-turn essentially.
Yeah.
How did you know who to talk to? How did you find the right people for you to talk to?
I talk with my parents a lot and my wife a great deal. Because we were both going through this at the same time, and if you don't keep that communication open, I think all sorts of things could happen.
Yeah.
But I talked to my parents, a couple of mates, but it was my wife was a rock for this. She was very organized. She was matter of fact, and she was very good, where I was kind of the stoic guy most of the time. Just the stoic guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a mixed bag with who I spoke to. I don't keep things too secret. It's kind of not really in my nature. I spoke with a couple of people, with one who still in my life quite a lot, and one who we don't work at the same place anymore. One guy didn't really get it and offered what he thought was good advice, but it kind of really wasn't. But another guy, we'd been, I say often that me and him, we went through a bit together at the same time. His story is he'd lost custody of his children, was trying to get them back, and we were trying to have children. So we leaned on each other a bit, and we'll spoke with my parents and my wife, who's brilliant. It's brilliant. That was good. And my parents, my dad's overseas, and so we spoke a little bit, and also with my mum, who lives over here in New Zealand. So we spoke. We both spoke with both of them and my wife, and picking the right friend, it's not as easy as you might imagine. You because some people don't get it, and some people say, "Oh, you just got to keep trying." And it's like, well, I understand how the trying side of it works. It just isn't working. And yeah, I mean, they don't mean any harm by what they're saying, but it isn't the most helpful thing to hear.
Yep.
Richard, you mentioned that you and your wife had attended the fertility support series that we run.
Yeah, we did. Yep.
That useful. Did you or you, Richie, access any other Fertility New Zealand services for, finding somebody to talk to or anything like that?
We did go to a big support group meeting in Parnell the once, which I'm not sure if it was run by FNZ, and I'm not sure what my wife attended, but I attended a couple of things with her as well, which one definitely was with FNZ. It was that was a group on the North Shore. We don't live on the North Shore, but we travelled up to it with her. Yeah. But that was it really, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did as well. We had a sportsman, went to one where there was a sportsman speaking about this from the era that I watched that sport quite a lot, cricket quite a lot, and it's like it was a bit of an eye-opening to see that all walks of life were affected. It was kind of no one is immune to it type thing. It's like, okay, famous, not famous, rich, poor, doesn't really make a difference. You just do what you it can happen to anyone. And my wife went to the support groups as well. She went to the support group. I was a typical bloke, I think. I just internalized a lot of it and just soldiered on, as it were.
Yeah. And then just lay awake thinking about it opposed to sleeping.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
That sort of leads into the next question quite well. What support did you actually need? How did you get through?
It's tough to know with guys what support we do need, because I mean, we've got to tell you first, and we don't tell anybody bugger all. So it's kind of difficult. I mean, I've got a bit written down which I wrote last night when I was doing my homework. Not that I do that very often. Yeah, I mean, one of the notes is it's not the same for everybody. I mean, what Richie needed might not, that probably wouldn't be what I needed, and what the other guys listening might not be the same. But I think looking at the previous question, but finding the right people to talk to is probably the support. And I think you find that people now still don't know, and getting the message out that there are groups like you guys to talk to is pretty difficult. Getting people to pay attention, and not to pay attention, that's definitely the wrong word. Get them to find you, to find that you've got the help. I mean, that you have a good you've got a good support base here with FNZ or with whoever, but it's tough to find it if you don't know where to look.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been that great. My wife was very organised and was able to find what she needed, and I just muddled along with a couple of mates and parents type thing, and talking with my wife essentially. So yeah.
Cool. So how did you cope with setbacks? This journey is not smooth in the whole nature of it, but there's things that crop up along the way. How did you cope with that?
Roll with the punches is essentially, it felt like sometimes. Like we went from having a daughter straight up to nothing, and it's like, well, okay, then finding out what the next step would be and doing that, then finding what the next step would be, doing that, and just building up to hopefully getting results. But it was just small goals, sticking with the program and hoping for a result, I suppose. Again, talking with my wife with this, because it was affecting both of us equally. So yeah, I thought, just communication with my wife was the big one for me.
Yeah, it's a good I don't say it's a good test, but it is a test of having a strong relationship. If you've really got to lean on each other quite a lot, because I mean, the person who sleeps next to you at night is the person who you know who's going through things just as much as you. And I mean, you may both be sitting there awake at night, not sleeping, and you've got to lean on your partner, and they expect them to lean on you. It's you got to make that partnership, and I think that's one thing. So yeah, the setbacks, it's just another hurdle. I mean, you almost laugh about it. It's just like, oh, another hurdle, and you're laughing when you want to cry about it. You certainly do. It gets pretty upsetting when you feel like we get to this and we'll be good, and no, you're not. You've got something else to do, and that's it's tough. But I don't know who else you could really lean on with this. How else you'd want to cope with these setbacks, but I think you and your partner got to lean on each other. That's probably the way to go.
Yeah, we were also dealing with like having when we were thinking about having a family, was the earthquakes came along in Christchurch. Yep. That set us back. We lost our house then, so we were then basically renting again rather than our own house. So all those things pushed us back, or were setbacks for us having a family. And then you have to make a decision: do we buy a house, or do we have a child, or do we try for kids? And that was just gotta do what you can with what you've got.
And you would have had you've got a daughter as well. You'd have had a child when you're trying to have another one, and struggling. That would have been quite a different dynamic for a lot of people as a secondary infertility. It's like,
still
a full-time child to look after who's probably not terribly old and needs a lot of attention from you, and you're also struggling what's going through. You're going on excuse me, what you're trying to do at the same time. It must have been a difficult thing for you guys to cope with.
Yeah, it's not like this, and it's a different. Yeah, it's like my parents had myself, my brother, 2 years apart. People go for that 2-year kind of gap, so to speak, and that's what we thought we'd do. We'd have a child, bang, then bang, and then it's like, no, it's not going to happen. So our daughters are 6 years apart.
Yep.
It's a whole different way of, like, my brother was, we played together, we fought together, where the kids are going to do that similar now, but it's going to be a bit of, with a 6-year gap, it's a lot different. But yeah, trying to keep trying the drugs, the cycles, all that kind of stuff does drain you mentally a lot, and you've still got to keep chipper and keep your child you do have happy and growing and all that kind of stuff. So it was hard.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately we weren't there. We just had a cat to look after who, they don't give a shit.
No,
just come in and eat and lay all over your furniture.
That's right.
That wasn't a problem for us to deal with. So.
Great. So we've got Father's Day coming up, and that can be a really challenging time for men and families who are going through this journey. What was it like for you?
Father's Day, it wasn't really a big deal for me. I know I completely get how something it would have been, but my wife got her a gift on the Mother's Day when she was pregnant, and I love her shop, but and she got me something as well, which was nice, but it means more now the kids are here. But I completely understand that there's some guys out there who, when it rolls around, it's gonna be a tough day, and there's a lot of days, not just Father's Day, there can be tough days when you're trying to start that family.
Lots of those celebration days.
Yeah. When you go to another celebration and there's, think you're not there with kids, and you thought, we make the big plans that Thomas said, no, you won't. We're gonna buy this Christmas, have a kid, and so, well, no, you're not. It's not happening for you that easily, and Yeah. So
Yeah, oh, sorry.
no, I was running out of things to say, so I'm glad you took over.
Well, with having my daughter, it was like, when are we going to finish our family? When is it? How long are we going to try for with the whole family? And then when your daughter's going, oh, when am I getting a brother or sister? And I'm like, yeah, that's yep, working on it. Here's a dog. It's your brother now. Yeah, so Father's Day was like, yeah, it was nice. I had a daughter, it was great, but it was like, when are we going to finish the family and move forward, so to speak?
Did you ever feel like giving up?
Oh, a couple of times, yes.
Yeah, we talked about it. Particularly when the news was pretty bad, it was definitely something that we talked about.
Yeah, especially because with me, it was I was going to go. I came from a 2-kid family. I was going, oh, we have 2 kids, we're done. My wife wanted 3, and I'm like, oh, 3. Well, we'll discuss that. We'll discuss that after number 2. And all of a sudden, it's like, well, hang on a minute. How long are we going to try for number 2 now? Not such a big mind shift for me, but my wife really did struggle with that, and probably still struggles a little bit with not having number 3 or trying for number 3. But by the time we had number 2, we were like old parents nowadays. Well, probably normal age parents almost sometimes. But we were in our 40s.
Yeah.
And it's like, this child here is making me tired. Holy heck, have another one. Oh.
Yeah, they do that, don't they?
Yeah, yes, they do. So yeah, that was a big thing. Yeah, like I was happy with 2. Going down to 1's not a big shift, but my wife from 3 down to 1. Wow, that's yeah. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, we were hoping for just to have 1 at one point, and then, well, we ended up with 3. So
nice.
Turned out all right.
Yeah.
Did you have any lifestyle factors that you had to overcome as part of your journey?
I've got some notes here, so I'll do this one for a start off.
Right.
I drank a lot of Coca-Cola, and actually still do, but then I had to really cut my Coke intake down. I had to take supplements for sperm health. Never got told to wear loose underwear though, but I did do the whole supplements. And both my wife and I were on the heavy side, so I wasn't told to lose weight, but she was. But it's always nice another way of supporting your partner is to right, let's reduce Coke, trim down for both of us, and go from there. So those were the 3 main things that I had to do for it. Was like, reduce Coke, take the little pills there for sperm health, and lose some weight essentially.
Yeah, I did some diet stuff. We lost a bit of weight and took some supplements like Medibit, I think was one I took.
Yep, same.
Yeah, and we did quite a bit of walking. We lived within Auckland at the time, and we did one day we did the Coast to Coast walk, which is Onehunga to the CBD, which is seeing both coasts in a day. Bloody good walk. Didn't want to do a great deal afterwards, so I did but yeah, that was all right. Real enjoyable. And one, it's not really a lifestyle thing, but something that we did for it was acupuncture. Suggested how to go, and I put any sketches inside and jumped in, and it was every fortnight the best 45-minute sleep I had. Without a few needles in my back or in my stomach, and that was it. Good night. Thanks very much.
Really? I've had acupuncture before, but never struck that. It was just like, okay, you're putting needles in me? Sure.
Yep. Well, I was going after work, so turning up, laying down on the table. Right, I'll catch you in the morning. Left them an hour, I've already woken up in the middle of the night. Yeah, that was all right. And the one doing it, Donna was her name. She was lovely, and she did a lot of fertility based, things like acupuncture and a lot of. Well, she was also a nurse, I think, as well. And yeah, she was bloody good, really good value, and very supportive.
Right. Were there parts of the process that you found embarrassing or confronting?
Supplying sperm samples is always interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, that was fun. Because my work was literally down the road from the laboratory, so it's actually, for lack of a better word, easier for me to produce the sample at work and just drop it in. So that was, yeah, interesting to do that.
That's the opposite of bringing your work home, isn't it?
That's the one. It was like, go to work. Oh, I'm gonna take the sample in now, right? Let's go take it in. Boom.
Yeah.
And then and with the cycles, the every other day at certain times, certain days, you got to perform, and I had to take Viagra in the end because it was just, there was no passion. It was just a job I had to do. So Viagra became my friend for a while there.
Yeah, it takes the fun out of it.
Oh, certainly does.
Yeah,
certainly
something that's
does.
mainly fun becomes the exact opposite. No, I understand what you're saying entirely. It was a process that wasn't as much fun as you would imagine, and it goes out the window straight away. I mean, I remember talking to a relative of mine who she had a bit of a journey, and she's like, "Yeah, it sucks," and yeah, couldn't agree more. It's
Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, it is a bit embarrassing when you've got to go and sit in a room that God knows how many other people are in and provide a sample for the doctors. It's like, yeah, it's we're still both grown men, but it's still bloody embarrassing, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. Choose your material. Oh, yeah, thanks. Don't just don't. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, and just lots of signs. Make sure you lock the bloody door.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And what advice would you give to other men in this situation?
Well, you don't have to be called Richard to be in this club of people with fertility issues. You're absolutely not on your own. There's plenty of people going through something similar. I mean, you may be supporting someone who's got fertility issues, or you have them yourself, but man, you're not on your own. And yeah, just be patient is the best thing. I mean, for a lot of people, it happens in the end. And yeah, as long as you and your partner are on the same page, you just got to commit to the journey and see it out, and hope that you get the outcome that you want.
Yeah, open and honest communication with your partners is vitally important, I think. And still have fun together. Don't let it be the beginning and end all of your existence.
Yeah.
It can consume you. I could see it easily consuming people. Just, you don't let it be everything. Yeah. Like my wife and I, we went on a cruise for a week just for a break, just to get away, just to recharge and connect on a normal level, rather than, okay, today's Monday, this is this day, we got to do this. So it was just nice to get away and just reset your mentality and relax a bit and get back into it. So yeah, don't let it consume you.
Yeah, we had a few little holidays, kind of somebody that would go where if you're just to get away from sitting in the house where all you talk about is trying to have a baby and it's not happening. It's get away and take a break. It's well, it turns into a marathon, not a sprint. You've got to have a break in the process.
Yeah, certainly do.
Were you and your partners on the same page? You touched on this a wee bit earlier, but were you and your partners on the same page in terms of what treatment to do and how long to persevere for?
I left a lot of it up to my wife. I was good with whatever needed to be done. I would do whatever needed to be done. But my wife is the researcher, the planner, the organizer. So she kept me informed and discussed what the options were and what we could do, and we went from there. I probably did very little research into myself, but my wife provided all the information I could ever want or ask for in that scenario. So yeah, my wife was the main driver, apart from the professionals going, we need to do this, and it's like, okay, we need to do that. But my wife was the main organizer.
Yeah, we were very similar. I don't mean this is to be a diss or everything, but we would, as guys, we're kind of the passenger in the situation a little bit. It's we've got to come along for the ride, and we've got to be on board with it as well. And I mean, I couldn't get the time out of my day for some of the daytime appointments that I was doing, but when I could attend, I did. And you've got to have each other's back there and be I suppose. And
yeah, again, it just comes back to support and communication. It's like, whichever one's taking the lead, as long as you're both informed, you're away in racing, I think.
Yeah.
And so how did you, sorry, a couple of the questions have dropped off the slide, so I'm just doing this from memory a wee bit. But how did you support your wife? What role did you take in it? Because I appreciate that it's limited at times in what you could do. So what did you do?
Active listening. Like guys, especially myself, want to solve whatever problem my wife has. So it was like, oh, this is happening. Oh, we can do this. No. I've got to just sit back and let her work through what was going on, what she wanted to talk about. I had to learn not to try and provide solutions to an issue that was essentially out of our control in a lot of ways. So I just needed to sit there and just not make appropriate noises, but engage in a conversation rather than trying to provide a solution every time she opened her mouth.
Yeah, which is difficult to not be wanting to find a solution. It's like, your wife has a problem, guys want to solve it, but a little difficult. Hugging the wife and telling you you love her is never a bad place to start, and letting her know that you're gonna stick around for the process, I guess.
Yeah, we were there to the end. Yep. And then just following through whatever needed to be done. Just make sure you follow through.
So what was the hardest part of all of this for you?
Thinking that we wouldn't get there was tough. You're thinking that it's not going to happen. That you've the hardest part was that there wouldn't be the outcome you wanted at the end. I guess very result focused. I suppose that was tough. And I know you found it.
Yeah, well, we halfway through our journey, we did conceive naturally, unbelievably.
Yeah.
But we lost the baby at about 13 weeks, so that was really hard. The hopes, the dreams, everything was falling to place, and then bang, 13 weeks later, you're going, oh shoot, or worse to that effect, but not as nice.
No.
Yeah, that was probably the hardest part of the journey for me, especially. Well, for us, I would assume, but for me, it was a hard spot. And then it's like, but we've got to keep going. Yep. Yes, we do. Getting back on the horse, as it were. Yeah, that was hard. That was tough.
It's tough to cope with disappointment, and
Mm.
in your case, the loss as well. It's just
Yeah.
We've got a question that's come through that I'm just going to pop through. Oh, can you guys see that?
Yeah, I can see it. Yep. Yeah, it's all
right. Do you want to read out the question and then see what provide some words of wisdom?
With the problem solving, do you think that is partially because the problem focuses on the female due to being less educated materials around male infertility? I've got to say that I think that most guys don't think it's going to be them in the first place.
No, you don't.
Because it's always been the woman's job to get pregnant, and men are only there for a short time. But it's like, no, hang on, we're all involved with this together.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think there's a lot of assumption that if there's an issue, it's more likely to come from the woman. Which
we've only got one very simple job.
Yeah, it's not the case. If you ever get around to looking at the material, it's kind of splits into threes of unknown, a third being the women and a third being the men. It's not as you'd think. It's not occasionally that the guy's not as he's got a low sperm count. It's like there's a lot of other reasons, and there's a bit of I suppose reading the question, maybe some more educational material would be good. You look at I've seen it. You look at FNZ's flyers. There's a lot focused around different issues, and there's maybe a couple about male issues. But yeah, maybe across the board. And I mean, you'd never go into a doctor's surgery and see a thing about sperm health or anything like that, or you're anything on those lines. You don't really see it.
No, or the effects of wearing different underwear. Say what? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah.
No. Well, I don't wear my doctors for it, but yeah, I don't know what you pulled that one out of either.
So another question just here as well, guys. I've just put through.
Did you just read this one out? Sorry.
No, I can read it out. With the problem solving, do you think that this is partially because the problem focus is...
We've done that one.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I've done that the wrong way around. Here we go. You both mentioned in various ways that your wives found what they needed and that you muddled along. Was this because you found that it was hard to find a similar level of resources for men?
No, I think this would come down to the individuals involved. If you've got a lot of it would, but if you've got someone who's always the organizer, the planner, who's in that role, they tend to find the information where the other person might, for lack of a better, coast and stand back and wait for the information to come to them from their partner. But again, it probably does come back to it's probably the woman that has the issue mentality, so she can go have a look and sort it out, type thing, possibly. I don't know.
I don't know. Sorry, Richie, I'll cut you off.
No, go for it. No, go for it, man.
I don't know how things were with you, but my wife went to the doctor a long time before I did. She was there a lot sooner than me, and probably really got the ball rolling before before we looked at how things were going with myself. So yeah, I didn't look a great deal for the resources of men, I suppose. It's when you get told by the doctor, it's do this and you'll be okay, and you do it and it's not. Yeah, and then we had other fires to fight with the journey. So then when we finally saw a specialist, he said, actually, the problem's here. But, excuse me. Yeah, it was probably quite far down the process at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think guys just want to be, well, for me, it was just tell me what the problem is and I'll go fix it, rather than let me go see what could be the issue and what can I do about it. I certainly didn't go look at what issues I could have that could be affecting this. I certainly did not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's any other questions out there, feel free to type them into the chat box. But just while we wait a few moments, did you have any other final words, Richie or Richard? Is there any other points that you want to highlight or parts of your journey that you'd like to talk about and share?
I've got a thing if you need a minute, Rich.
Yeah, mate, go. I'm just thinking.
One of the biggest things with me is I wasn't happy with my doctor after he finally realised what was going on, and I changed GPs. You know, that part in the process, I couldn't go back and see that doctor who'd given me not particularly good advice. So I found new GPs, and then that was something that I was quite keen on doing. I didn't want to see that person again, so I felt like they did kick the can down the road for us for another year. Plus, by the way that by just giving me bad advice. I don't mean to mean about the doctor, they're doing their best, but it wasn't what I wanted. So getting to new GP was something that I was quite pleased with.
Yeah, we had something similar, but that was involving the fertility doctor themselves. We found their communication to be really, really poor and hard to follow. So we also asked for another doctor. Because we found this doctor really poor communication, and we came out of an appointment going, what was that? So similar to you, that prompted us to change who we saw. Or don't be afraid to change doctors or professional if you have to. But again, the main thing is you need to be talking to your partner about this, because it is both of you in it together. It's the big thing. Always keep communicating. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Just got a comment here that's come through from Facebook. Just somebody that said, I don't like being put on the spot and having problems with performing or producing under pressure. Much respect to both of you for getting on with it. So that's just I think a nice sort of summary statement at the end that really, respecting what both of you are sharing tonight, and the way that you've supported each other during this conversation has really illustrated so many of these points and sums it up. So thank you for that Facebook, that comment through Facebook, and thank you both for sharing your journey and your stories tonight. It's been a really great chat, a really honest and open and brave chat tonight, and we really, really appreciate you giving your time and sharing that with us. And thank you everybody for tuning in and viewing and joining us tonight. We really want to thank you all for being here, and we hope that you found that helpful, and that there's been things on there that have been relatable. Please check it out our website for various information, or get in touch with us as you need. Thank you again also to our sponsor, Merck, for the webinar series tonight. And please keep an eye out for future webinars from Fertility New Zealand, as we try and bring relevant subjects and information to you and our community. Thank you again, everybody. Have a good evening. Thank you.